Greetings, listeners. I am your host and game master this evening, Zach Barrett, and welcome to this Twisted Gear Studios production of Spacers, our Starfinder actual playcast. Last we left the crew, they had begun their trip back home to the Heap to regroup and prepare to travel to the coordinates provided to them by Jovac Teka.
Is there anything you guys would like to do the next morrow on the Heap?
I'm kind of mulling over the conversation we had with Jovac. It was not a fun conversation, to say the least, and it's kind of bothering me. So I'm going to go see if there's anyone having breakfast that I can sit with and see what they think.
You notice
head to breakfast
right away when you get to the mess hall, and it's early enough in the day that there's more people than you had seen last time you came to the mess hall. Many of your friends, the people you hang out with most, are kind of gathering relatively close together. Clipticker's nowhere to be seen.
Okay. It's probably do bugs sleep? I don't know about this. I'm just gonna grab some food and sit down.
All right.
I imagine I'm probably eating breakfast. It's early. I'd be eating very early in the morning, though. I would assume.
So you'd be done breakfast by now?
Probably.
Already at work?
Yeah, maybe just observing.
Standing guard at the door. Like
as I walk by, I'm gonna give you a friendly punch in the arm, like, "Hey, D," and then go get food.
Just glares.
Greg can't be seen, but you do hear some sounds of sloppy, weird chewing coming from the same vent that all the baguettes came out from last time.
There's one particular part of a table where there's crumbs underneath the broken vents, and if you choose to sit there, you'll more or less be eating with Greg.
Yeah, righty.
If that's something
Flinch!
anybody ever wanted to do.
Yeah. You took a couple of days to explore the ship.
Yeah, so I know my way around pretty good, I imagine, by now.
Well, you wake up this particular morning cradling a baguette in a vent.
Delicious, delicious baguettes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go to the breakfast buffet. I'm assuming it's a buffet.
It could be.
I'm assuming it's a breakfast buffet on the ship, like a mess hall.
It's like a mess hall. You take a tin tray up, and someone will slop something in your tray.
So fair enough. So, of course, I go in as usual, and I go to the lineup, and when they're not looking, I start stuffing certain foods into my cheek pouches. I have pockets in my face. As they start expanding with food while I get other food, and then anyone who walks in later is just going to notice one table off by the corner sort of shaking a little bit because I'm sitting under the table and I have all the food laid out in front of me on the floor, and I'm just picking through it, deciding what to keep in my cheek pouches for later, what to actually eat, and stuff like that. Yes. And you just hear grumbling. Just like.
So, were you just taking extra food? Was that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second.
So
Stuffing it in my cheek pouches.
basically, Laurel's sitting at a table by herself.
I'm a stranger.
Or if people look over, she looks like she's by herself, except you're under the table, and I'm in the vent above the table. So she's quietly eating with interspersements of.
Well, if you take more than the share that was given to you, is that the idea? I want you to roll a sleight of hand check.
Have I seen Flinch before? Do I know who Flinch is? I have not met Flinch yet, I don't think.
Not really, no. You were informed as the Quad Bay manager. You were informed that when the Meteor first came, before it was named the Meteor, that it had a crew of 4, and you've only really seen 3, so you know there's a 4th, but you've never met them.
I look over at Flinch and I'm like, God, okay, there it is.
What did you say?
There it is.
6.
You can bring up your tray, all triumphant and proud of yourself, and this insectoid hand comes out and puts some gray slop on your tray, and that's about it. But you see that there's a separate line over on the side where there's a couple of more uptight individuals, another Yosoki as well, but he looks very upkept, and they're getting nice food. So you go on over and you kind of sneak up and you go to grab, I don't know, another baguette.
Oh, yes.
Never had nice
too many baguettes.
And as you do, this green fuzzy hand grabs you by the wrist and twists until you drop the baguette, unless you choose not to. I'm grabbing my dice just in case.
What is it worth to you?
Well, I'm a mouse.
It's true.
So I'm gonna try to hold on to the bag.
All right, roll a strength check.
Why wouldn't I? I got a 9.
Oh my god.
It's true. Greg thought they were.
There is a solid twist, and you have no choice but to release the
And I
baguette
do.
as with a 21.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
The baguette is dropped, and you hear this snarling, but somewhat adorable voice. Hello, friend. Is your food not good enough for you?
Well, more food's always preferable.
His 4 hands come up, and Chef Blue pops up from
My
behind the
cheek
curtain.
pouches are empty.
But there's food on your tray.
But this looks like better food. I'll put this food down.
No.
And I'll take food from this line. Is there a class system here?
For you, there is.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like a hierarchy thing. One of those weird.
I don't
things.
like you.
But there is a hierarchy thing.
You stole my baguettes.
What do you mean I stole your baguettes?
While this
I
conversation,
did wake up with a baguette.
While this conversation is happening, and Chef Blue is distracted.
Oh my god.
Can I go up and take a couple of some kind of sweet rolls or something?
Roll a stealth check,
Danish.
please.
Space Danish.
Stealth.
Yeah, you're good at stuff.
Well, I rolled a 16 plus 5, 15, so 31.
16 plus.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
That's right, right? And my
In
math
hell.
is right.
Wow. Flinch, while you're fighting with Chef Blue, all you see behind him is Greg's. You see this tied, knotted, several white cloths all knotted together, comes out of a vent and dangles, and then upside down, not right side up, Greg begins climbing headfirst down the rope, grabs a couple of things and stares right at you as he's putting stuff in his coat.
And I don't show that I see Greg at all. This is called teamwork at its finest. Oh, and so I keep sort of slightly arguing with the
With the Skitterman.
with their Skittermander until Greg finishes.
So, what do you take, Greg? What are you taking?
Definitely one of the baguettes.
What don't you take?
Is there anything there that would be equivalent of a cinnamon bun? Because that
Yes.
would be pretty cool.
There are many.
They're called cinnamon buns.
Yeah.
They're called cinnamon buns.
And probably, if I can manage it, anything that might be covered in gravy, I'll also throw that in the bag.
There's a pot of gravy.
You're gonna see
Are these
Greg
Space Americans who
take
do
the
biscuits
pot
and
and
gravy?
kind of tip it up and pour a little bit of gravy into this bag, put it back, and then I'll go back up into
That's
this.
disgusting.
Can I roll to see if I notice any of this happening?
Yeah, roll a perception check.
18.
That's pretty good. But you're on the opposite end of the hall.
Yes, I probably
And
just
it's
see a
behind
commotion.
a window,
I imagine.
behind two little people fighting.
Well, yeah, I'm like them fighting.
Oh, you see them kind of arguing, Flinch and Blue, but beyond that, you don't really see.
Do I notice that the rat is gone? or
Oh,
the
no.
goblin? Sorry.
Oh, you never did see the goblin.
Oh, I
The
didn't know
goblin's been in the
because
vent
he
the
was in
whole
the vent,
time.
right.
As far as
Right,
you're
right,
concerned,
right,
you
right,
still
right.
see the crumbs on the table where the goblin would normally eat.
Right.
There's no insinuation whatsoever as to
Right.
noticing where the goblin currently is besides his normal vent.
God, I love my stealth check.
30.
Greg gets away with a bag full of
And
breakfast
as your argument
True.
as your argument ends, Flinch, you watch as Greg climbs up, thumbs up, and then pulls up the blanket just as Chef Blue turns around to grab another gray scoop of slop. Goes, well, if you want more food, splat. Bon appetit.
Oh, okay. What language is that?
Space French.
Space French.
French.
It's an exotic Skittermander language. Leave.
Yes, I'll have my train. I'm like, oh no, I get it. I am fluent in arrogant chef. I turn around and start walking away.
He just angrily stirs a pot, staring at you.
We are not making him like our crew.
No. I just want you to really quickly, Flinch, roll a perception check.
Oh, I rolled a 20. So
Wow.
You as you walk away, you realize that the hand that fed you the initial scoop of food. Wait a second. Was that Cliptic? It was.
a little bit uptight, probably do some manual labor, especially working with that guy. God. Yeah, just walk over to a table, eat my slop underneath the table. Just the table slightly rattles. Rattle.
So
And, very quietly, a cinnamon bun covered in gravy hits the floor next to you.
Straight into the cheek pouch.
Laurel, this entire time as you're eating, the crumbs stop for a minute. It's kind of confusing, and then all of a sudden you just feel the table, and when you look down, splat right next to you between the bench and the table, and little rat hand comes out, grabs it, and goes under the table.
I sort of lean down and look under the table. Flinch?
I'm sort of sticking. And I got this bulge in the side of my one of the cheek pouches is filled with some pastry of some sort. Yeah?
What you doing down there?
I'm eating. I'm eating. Just trying to. That chef's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a stolen Clippy.
Stolen.
I don't know.
Well,
I
it's a
think
hierarchy-based system, and usually the weak ones are the first ones to be taken.
Sure. Let's
He'll
go
be
with
fine.
that.
We'll be fine. We'll have a revolution.
At this point, I'll walk over to the table.
This sounds exciting.
Hello.
What's up, D?
My name is Diantha. You know this.
Yep.
I imagine you're crew member number 4 of the Meteor.
I just point at the table, but pointing down. That's Flinch.
Yes. I am one with the meteor.
Has no one ever told you that the worst person to make enemies with is the person who feeds you?
Well, I've been used for quite a long time of eating the scraps that goblins find. So I'm pretty sure, regardless, even if he poisons my food, it'll be better.
But then you'll be dead.
No. Hardy constitution. I am one with the meteor.
I swing the vent open and say, I take offense at that.
My food is delicious.
Don't use words you can't spell.
Get
Get back up there.
I throw another gravy-covered bun at him.
I would like to catch it and put it in my other cheek pouch.
All right. Roll a reflex saving throw.
I hope this doesn't count as a thrown
21.
I was going to say, I hope this doesn't count as a thrown attack for me, because my stats aren't so good for that.
Nah, you're just
21.
wildly throwing it in his general
With the
direction.
21, can I just catch it in my mouth?
And as Flinch is staring at you, Diantha, you hear he does not look up at Greg when Greg says, and then throws something at him. He just kind of, while maintaining eye contact, goes, catches a cinnamon bun covered in gravy. It's not the cleanest of catches.
Vent food is good food. But yeah, so no, I understand your point. It's just the last few days I've been waking up like cuddling a baguette, and I'm not myself. And you notice he's like slightly twitching.
Okay.
I'm just eating my slop like popcorn right now.
You also notice that when he turns to catch, that he has a data jack implanted in the back of his neck, and yeah.
Okay.
Who are you?
I guess we haven't been properly introduced.
Antha's kind of the boss. No, she's not. She's like the boss's immediate under person.
I wouldn't
Is there
go
a word
that
for that?
far. I do a lot of the planning and things on the ship.
Do you get to eat in the good food line?
Yes.
We'll be good friends. Crack. Yes. Good food line. Yes. Good friends for sure.
If you don't mind waking up at 6 in the morning to go for breakfast, I'd be happy to help you out.
It's not hard to wake up. I'm usually awake by then. Like I'm usually already like still up from the day before.
You seem like someone who doesn't sleep very much.
As I twitch a little bit more. Yes. Sleep. Yeah.
He recharges for days at a time and then can go days without.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like the boss's lieutenant or something.
I wouldn't say I'm quite that far up, but
Farrah sometimes seems to like you as much as she likes anybody.
well, I do what I can, but
I will take I will try to be nicer to the little blue chef.
That's more for you. I find it quite entertaining, but, you know.
But he's a green.
Stretch.
He's a green chef.
Oh, I've heard around somebody calling him blue, so that's green or is it blue?
His name is Chef Blue, and he's green.
His name is Chef Blue and he's green. Oh, okay.
But wait, what?
His name is Chef Blue.
So he's blue.
His name is Blue.
So he's blue, but he's green.
Sometimes hierarchy-based systems are complete chaos.
Man, this is confusing.
I think you guys are putting way too much thought into this.
And with that, usually around a little bit after breakfast, the captain will gather some of the crews of the 4 ships that work in the quad bay together, kind of hand out tasks, or if there are any tasks. And this time she does have tasks for each of the ships. So do you guys gather with the rest?
Yep.
Yeah.
See what's
You
up.
could totally just choose not to, but that's good. So she has a very incomplete map of this Havasath system, the one that was referred to that you guys mentioned to her on your return trip home from Purgatory. And she has 4 different locations that she'd spotted out, and that each of the 4 heaplets are going to be dispatched to go to. She asks each of the captains of each of those ships to take care of which zone would they like. Captain Karish, the Dragonkin envoy of the asteroid bait, chooses to take the moon surrounding one of the largest gas giants in the system. Captain Hasta is a Kasatha from the Stellar Scrapper, and she has decided to take on one of the more unknown, unmapped areas of the system.
Sorry, what was her name?
Hasta.
Hasta?
Yeah.
With the stellar scrap.
With the Stellar Scrapper.
Stellar scrap.
And Loma is a Yosoki, the one that you actually saw eating good food earlier, who stands like he has quite the stick up his butt. But he is the captain of the Benedict. And he is offered to take up many of the planets that have very few satellites within the inner system of the inner rings of the system. The only spot that's really left, / you can also debate for any of those other 3 spots. The only spot that's left is there is assumed to be another gas giant in the system, but it hasn't actually been logged. So there is a somewhat unexplored void of space that there's a guess as to what's there, as opposed to the other void of space is completely unmapped. So you can either just take that one, or you can try and discuss with one of the other captains taking one of the other 3 zones.
So there's 3 zones.
4 zones in total. So
I
there's
only read
there's
2.
the inner systems, the inner planets.
Who's then taking that one?
That was Loma,
Okay.
the Yosoki for the Benedict.
Yeah.
Hasta, the Kasatha on the Stellar Scrapper, took the completely unexplored area.
Yeah.
Or is saying that they're okay with taking that one.
Cool.
Karash, or Karashtama Kavastone.
Woo!
Yeah, I figured Karash was easier. Is a dragonkin that has decided to take an entire planetoid system of the largest planet that's discovered. And then there is another undiscovered area that is said to possibly have another system of gas giant and moons, but it wasn't confirmed by the time this map made it to the captain. So you could just take the potential gas giant or potential nothing, or you can discuss with one of the other captains one of the other 3 zones.
Well, I don't know. It could be cool.
I'm fine taking the unexplored area.
What do you guys think? Take cool. It could be something great.
I'd
It's
like
unexplored, so it'll be something new, anyways.
Plus, I'm hiding behind Laurel's legs. Just sort of directly behind, just sticking my head out every now and then. I'm up. As I just sort of peer around from behind your legs and look up. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go anywhere. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter to me, really. Unexplored, planetoids.
Well, here's the thing, too. So we're going to the Havasath system because we think... Okay, wait, no, I have to... Okay, I'm trying to connect this. So the 7, the guy from the 7 is going to be in the Havasath system because some other guy from the Slanty Explorer people is exploring. And they want to take the things that he learned when he's exploring So they're going to this Tavisat system. So we want to be somewhere that people don't know very much about. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So we want the unexplored thing.
Yeah.
Where I believe we're looking for a ship specifically, no?
The information that was given was that the most likely point, or the most, if you find an Aslanti Star Explorer from the Aslanti Star Empire, you will likely at some point soon after find a ship with one of the 7 on it, or one of the
Bermuda
crew you're
ship
looking for.
From the
Bermuda,
Aslanti.
yeah.
Aslantis or Aslanti?
Aslanti Star
Aslanti.
Empire, yeah.
The Aslanti Star Empire.
They're crossing through the system, period, like the 7 vessel you're looking for is, and so is the Bermuda. But the hint was, if you find the Bermuda, you will likely find soon after this 7 ship, because according to Jovac, it'll have some sort of information that they would want to take.
Okay.
So we gotta think of where the Aslantis are going, so that then we'll know where the 7 are going.
The Aslanti will go somewhere unexplored.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Like unexplored but cool.
Unexplored, but filled with resources.
So this could be it. It's got a planet, but maybe it doesn't. But maybe it does. Yeah, let's go here. I think
We'll take that one.
Sweet.
Greg likes gas. He produces it all the time.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm okay with that.
Suddenly I'm against this plan. I'm not sure why. As I take a cinnamon bun out of my cheek pouch and start eating it properly.
I'm already like signing us up for that area. Or
You've
whatever.
been overruled.
I'm like,
I'm just picturing all these really, clean, well-uniformed captains and crews and stuff, and then you look over at us, and Greg's got his finger up his nose, and we're highly distracted.
I'm eating a cinnamon bun covered in floor gravy.
Excellent. My God. Is there anything you guys wish to take care of before hopping into the meteor and flying off?
Is there anywhere to like buy things?
There is a small merchant shop. Sometimes some of the crews, even yourselves, can bring items that you find and give them to. There is a person on board that does like to sell stuff. He is an android. He is the head mechanic of the Quad Bay, but one of the areas of the Quad Bay that he keeps to himself is a stash of items that people give him. And his name is BK1. And you go up to BK1, and you can sell items to him, but you can also buy wares that other vessels, other heaplets have brought back.
Is it mostly like
Should you
weapons
wish.
and stuff? Like
Heaplets? You calling them heaplets? I love that.
Yeah, the 4 ships that live in the heap, the captain
heaplets?
refers to them as heaplets.
Heaplings.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Does he sell like just weapons and stuff, or would he sell like?
You want to go to ask him?
Yeah, I'll go see him. I guess.
Okay.
If he wants to join, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm coming along.
Oh, yeah.
Look at guns. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
Greg's
sure,
definitely
for sure.
joining to look at a shop that he's never been in before.
Okay. So, who's going to start talking to BK1? It should be interesting.
I imagine I know who he is, so I'll go up.
Yeah, he had a bit of
So-
a rapport.
And I'll be
Who's this
like,
guy?
This is BK1. He runs the shop here. He's a mechanic. He works very hard.
Hello.
Hey. Laura.
Oh. Yeah.
This is Greg and Flinch. They're
So you call
Creepy.
yourself a mechanic, huh?
He just kind of nods at both of you. He looks at you in particular and is like, yes?
Oh, cool. Do you have any work? I'm
I
a
mean-
mechanic too. I make stuff work.
I've
really
never
well.
seen you around here before.
I've been hiding in vents eating baguettes.
That sounds very mechanical.
It can be if you know the proper vents to go in so you don't die. Yes, it's very good.
That kind of makes sense.
I mean, I can see the logic there. I can't not agree with it.
I'm just good at stuff. I just don't have any money, and I like to look at wares and stuff to see what you have, and it's just I got no money.
Oh, you're hoping to trade man hours for equipment, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I just don't know if you do that on this ship, being all hierarchy based and stuff. I'm not good at like saluting or goose stepping and stuff.
Right.
Short legs.
Hierarchy. Anyway, so,
He got on the bad side of the green-blue chef.
oh, you ate the slop, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't
Did
know.
you steal the baguette?
I don't know. I woke up sleeping with it, like cuddling it, not sleeping with it, cuddling with it.
Yeah, baguettes don't sleep, dude.
Are you a doctor?
He just kind of stares and nods. He's like, yep,
I just
yep.
I ignore this. It's happening next to me. Oh, we wanted to just look at what you're selling today.
Yes, I have quite the selection of items here, actually. Fortunately, a lot of it is pretty crazy stuff. So, what kind of stuff are you looking for?
I'm looking for anything for poisons and things like that.
While this has been happening, Greg's got his nostrils blown out in full mode, and is just sniffing and tasting everything around the shop.
Is it like a shop? I assumed it was like he had all the stuff behind him, but maybe not.
Oh, just the walls and floor in general.
He's got a couple of
If
basic
that's
items
what it
behind
is.
him, but depending on how well you converse with him, you maybe will find other things.
Sometimes when you taste the floor, you know who's been there before you.
Greg will find things to taste, even if you would think that there would be nothing to taste.
It's true. He's very open-minded.
Diantha's just in like a 1,000-yard stare right now.
So open, it's just falling out every now and then. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
What have you gotten yourself into?
At one point, he will probably try going behind the counter while following his nose along the floor.
I just look at you and just like a stern like, nope, don't do that.
You do the teacher thing? Zip!
Yep. Nope.
Nope.
He just looks at you in confusion, but sits where he is.
All right. So he's kind of looking about, and he pulls out a crate. So you're looking for medicines, poisons, things
Poisons
of that nature,
specifically.
right? I mean, I've got this unknown vial here. I haven't quite appraised it yet. And he puts this rather greenish fluid on the table. It could be good. It could be bad. It could be I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at it yet.
How long would it take you to figure it out?
Well, I got a bunch of other work to do. Maybe a couple of days.
You got any stuff for healing or recovery? Like,
Well, I got, here, let me take a look at one of these. And he pulls out a small vial of what looks like sparkling dust. And he's like, we call this rapture dust. Take some of this. So if you, in game terms, if you take a hit of this, it is a drug. You get +4 morale bonus to constitution checks, to holding your breath or avoiding suffocating or drowning. And you also get +4 morale against fear checks for 2d4 hours. So you can resist fear and the ability to, and you can have a longer chance to hold your breath.
While he's describing this, you see Breck's head just come up, and like his nose is now sitting on the top of the counter, and his eyes have become really big, like saucers.
So about that poison, what are the odds that if I shoot at somebody, it'll hurt them?
50-50. It could very well be a drug I haven't appraised yet. You might just be giving them a nice little hit of something. It might, hurt them. I don't quite know at this point.
I'll
say we
take.
shoot it at Greg.
We aren't shooting it at anybody. I'll take the chances with it. How
Greg,
much
you
is
want
it?
to taste it?
I do. I just don't know if it's a good idea.
Well, I'd be willing
This is
to
what his
part
dad
with it
said.
for 800 credits.
800 credits for one vial?
That you don't
Well,
even know
you
what
can,
it does.
Yeah. Well,
Like, we don't
I don't
want to
be responsible. Let's put it this way: if you let me void all responsibility, I'll knock $200 off the price.
Because, I mean, we're planning on partially feeding it to the goblin. And we don't usually spend money on the things we feed to the goblin.
Okay.
So
okay.
expensive. Okay.
What can I get for 3 credits?
He reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a single screw.
Sold. Give him 3 credits for the screw.
You now have one single screw.
Okay, one screw.
A single BK1 screw.
Oh,
It is a Phillips head.
How much is the dust? The rapture dust?
I can part with that for 200.
See, I was kind of looking like for a recovery thing, but this is cool.
Yeah, I don't got a lot of any of that healing stuff. Let me take a quick look. He does pull out a case. As he opens it up, there are 4 different vials within it, and they each look like they have they brighten in intensity with each vial from left to right. And he goes, "Well, it's not healing, but it could push you past some irregular limits. Just a couple of stimulants if you're into that sort of thing."
Flinch just twitches a bit. Yeah, well, how much are we talking about for these?
Well, if you want that lower one over there, I can get rid of that one for 150. I don't got a problem with that. That one somebody just kind of brought in. And in terms of game terms, what it would do, it lets you you get to shrug off the effects of fatigue and exhaustion for up to 1d4 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah. However, if you were within that period of time supposed to be fatigued, by the time you have worn off the drug, you will be exhausted. So it kind of hits you tenfold, but you can ignore it for a few hours. And then each one seems to be the same thing, but more potent further on down the line.
Yeah.
And as he explains to you the prices, they just get abhorrently expensive as they go.
You know, I'll get Hit of the Rapture Dust, and let's get the lower one of those stems.
All right, well, that'll be $350 for the two.
All right.
Fantastic. So you cough up 350 credits. Again,
I'll
the
get
Rapture
the Zap
Dust.
and those in the pit.
Now, something to keep as he hands you the stimulant without any issues. And he's like, there you go. So, and again, that one for 1d4 rounds, you can ignore fatigue.
Okay.
As he hands you the Rapture Dust, he doesn't let go of it when you grab it. He just goes, I'd be careful though. I only get so much of this stuff in, and I am not responsible for any withdrawals you might have due to me being short on this.
Dude, I'm not planning on taking it for fun.
Fantasy cocaine.
Don't matter if it's for fun. If you take it, I'm not responsible for the aftermath.
I didn't assume you were responsible for anything.
Good. I'm glad we have a deal. And he lets you take the Rapture Dust.
Fantasy cocaine.
Space cocaine.
Oh, right. Space fantasy cocaine.
So it's...
We're in space.
I go show Greg the screw I bought.
It's very exciting.
Look at this very screw. It cost everything I had.
He, Greg touches it with the tip of his tongue. Seems pretty good. You might want to hang on to that.
Oh, yes. And I just stuff it into one of my many pockets.
Yeah. Really quickly for Rapture Dust there, if you want to write this down.
Yep.
You will have to make... I'm not explaining why. But when you do, if I ask you to roll a save, it's a Fortitude of DC 13. And a Will of DC 13.
13, both of them?
Yeah, 13, both of them. The effect is you'll get +2 morale against fear effects and being sickened and nauseated, and a -2 to sense motives for 1 hour.
That could be good
That
for
could be
some
good.
of us.
Sorry, -2 to sense motives?
Yeah,
And there was something about a plus to constitution?
I was reading the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
What's morale again?
So you get +2 morale bonus to saves against fear and being sick or nauseated.
Okay.
Still good.
So, well, considering some of the shit you guys have seen, it makes sense. All right. Is that all the stuff anyone wanted to look at?
I can't really window shop. I got no money.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So BK1 kind of bows his head. Thank you for your patronage. But remember, if you keep an eye out there, I am more than willing to give out some money for some items as well. Just keeping in mind that I do have to make a bit of profit on the side too, right?
Will do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We'll leave.
As we're walking away, I look up at Laurel and it's like, that was a really, seemed like a really nice drug dealer.
They generally are.
He
They want
does
you to
what he
come back.
can.
And Greg pulls out of one of his pockets a large sack, and when he opens it, it seems to have quite a few credits inside it. They are his own. I'd just like to point that out first. But he takes 100 out of it and hands it to Flinch and said, "The next time you want to go shopping, just use this." And then he puts the patch back in his
Wait. Where'd you get the sack of loot? Where'd you get the scratch?
I don't normally buy anything, so I don't spend any money.
I don't buy anything at all, and I have no money. Where'd you get the loot?
You have better morals than I do. Morals? That's a good word. I need
So
to
you
write
stole
that one down too.
So you stole it.
You can write.
I don't know, maybe at some point, I'm not sure.
What? How much money you got there?
before or after I gave you that?
You don't have that in the same bag as your gravy rag, do you?
No, I would never keep something as precious as food in the same bag as money.
I'd take the 100 credits.
You now have 100 credits.
Man.
How full was this bag, is my question.
Pretty full. There's
In
Yeah.
game terms, Greg currently has just over 600 credits to his name.
What? I had 3.
I know you did.
You missed a couple of
traded for
paydays.
a big magic screw.
Is
Yeah.
it magic though, or is it really your belief all along?
I did get paid a little bit for running around doing stuff while chewing on a gravy rag.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
fair enough. I'll take the 100 for doing nothing. Okay, fair
We're
enough.
sleeping with baguettes.
That's fine. I'll take it.
Done.
How many screws can I get with 100 credits? No, I don't want to increase the power of my one magic screw. Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
You're like Jack and his bean, only it's flinching the screw.
Don't reduce its its value.
If we
Inflation,
roll,
man.
If we roll it around in the raptured dust, will we increase its value?
It would be one heck of a screw if you stick yourself with it.
It would totally be like an attack thing. Like you take a screw, like a stealth attack, and you have it rolled in some kind of like drug, and you like stick it into somebody.
I mean, you could.
You could.
Or you could
This
also
is
use like a
crazy.
actual knife or a syringe or
Oh,
a
yeah.
dart or
Or just
something
shoot
that
'em.
is sharp.
I know, but if you come at someone with a screw,
Oh my
they're
God.
gonna be confused long enough that you could get like a
Not
get in
super
there.
confused. A goblin running at somebody with the screw?
That's
like an ancestral goblin weapon.
He's not wrong.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right.
Like brass
Anyway,
knuckles with
anyway.
screws.
Anyway.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm on the ship already.
Okay, I guess we'll
Make
head
our
to
way
the
to
ship,
the
yeah.
meteor.
Okay.
I'll go
So
to the
you
engineer.
pop into the meteor. It's been a little bit since you've been in here, Flinch. The seat that Cliptech normally sits in has been duct taped to high heaven, so it doesn't move at all. No lean back function, no spinning, no nothing. Diantha's already up in the captain's nook, kind of activating parts of the ship. Do you want to take a seat? Do you want to go to the engine room?
Oh, I immediately just go to engineering.
Okay. Screw those.
Yeah, I'll keep my comm open from my exocortex. I'll
Yeah.
keep my comm open, and then I'll go down
Makes
to
sense.
engineering and see if there's somebody down there who's not supposed to be, like anybody but me.
Like me.
Well, do you head to the bridge to the pilot's chair?
Oh, I do, yeah. I'm
Okay.
already sitting in the chair, and you can hear that little mechanical sound of someone adjusting a seatbelt. I'm moving it forward like like as far as the seat will
Who
go.
keeps moving your seat
We,
back?
we all
know.
sit and watch silently as moves him forward, and he sits still as he controls the button. Chair now goes up. Ka-chunk.
Oh my god.
Then he
Right,
wiggles his
right,
butt a
right.
little bit just to make sure, and you hear a little. That's good.
Oh no, I'm in the wrong seat.
That's who keeps moving the
Oh,
seat
you know
back.
what? Just in case, he'll get out from the pilot seat, get into the co-pilot seat, and do the same thing.
Are we ready to go yet?
I've been ready to go for a
Almost.
while.
Give me just a second.
He gets the planks under his feet that allow him to reach the pedals ready.
It's a very complex system. And
Just-
the fact that
Mr.
I'm
Jones.
short.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Shorty!
Just rubbing my temples. Just, oh my god.
How's the engineering room look?
Actually, pretty good. There hasn't been a lot of no damage been dealt to the ship since you've been here. So the last you left it, the last it's been, with some dust because no one's been in here.
I'm gonna start poking around doing some checks.
Fantastic.
Regular routine maintenance checks, yeah, to make sure that Greg hasn't been down here doing stuff. I'm sure nobody else would.
Hey, my
Humor
engineering
me.
skills pretty
Roll an engineering check.
good. Now it's goblin engineering, but still, it's engineering.
27? I'm really good at engineering. Yeah.
Everything seems pretty normal, except there is kind of like a slightly off smell
Oh,
to
did I
one of the
track it down?
gears, and you pull open the plate, and there is an older gravy rag that is stuck between a couple of gears. The first one that Greg lost is in the gears. It seems to be like the ship's still functioning fine. It's not going to cause any issue. It's just if you didn't catch it now, it would have smelled like bad gravy.
Okay, I'm gonna go over the comm. Greg, you need to come down to engineering. We need to hold off leaving. Come on, you need to come down to engineering right away. Hopefully you're not already tight in your seat as usual.
Hang on.
And then he gets that and back seat up.
Oh my god.
And we all sit and watch in silence.
Why is it now that you guys don't make rash decisions to leave?
I take out one of my guns and just start cleaning it.
And as
Yeah.
this is all happening, Diantha, you're watching the other 3 ships just leaving, going on their business.
I was like, willfully wishing I was on one of those ships instead.
And as I go past her to make my way to engineering, saying,
Don't worry, I'll catch up and pass them in just a little
No,
bit here.
you shouldn't be catching
I'm
up.
gonna try to get the gravy rag out of the gears without tearing it.
It's pretty easy. It's literally just a matter of flip. It's a miracle that it even got there in the first place and stayed there.
And I will wait.
oh yeah,
Holding
I'll
the
make my
gravy
way
rag.
to engineering.
Gregson.
The first thing Greg sees is Flinch standing in the middle of the engineering bay, just holding up a gravy rag in front of him. Is this yours?
And he runs over really quick, grabs the
Well,
rag
I try
and
to hold it above your head, but we're both 3 feet tall.
yeah, I just take it from him and go,
Oh, Jonathan, I thought I lost you forever.
and then run out of the engineering bay.
I shake my head. And I sort of chuckle to myself because I know how annoying. That's why I didn't go to the main bridge, because I kind of know how annoying Greg is with his seats after traveling with him so long. So I
Yeah.
only did it because I knew he'd have to redo his seat.
And sure enough, as you guys sit there and wait patiently, Greg runs back with a fury of speed that you're not used to seeing Greg running with. He gets back in the chair, in his fluster, sits, and then patiently.
Diantha's just sitting there with her head in her hands, thinking of the life decisions she's made to get her to this
Okay.
point.
I'm
All
just
right,
cleaning my guns.
let's get this crashing meteor. I mean, this meteor on the go. Here. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Yeah, you better get it going.
Yeah.
I don't want you to
Piloting check.
try not to crash into a planet this time. I say.
Or the ship
It's fine. It's all good.
that you're inside of.
Piloting.
Oh my.
So I rolled a 1 on the dice.
That's good enough for me.
Plus.
No, it's
Nope,
Plus
that's good enough for
Come
me.
on.
So it's 11 in total. 'cause we're
Well,
both-
yeah.
You know that sound that the Millennium Falcon makes when it doesn't work? Flinch, you sit and watch the engine that you're proud of being responsible for as it goes.
As soon as I hear this noise, I put the last piece of the gun that I've been cleaning together, flip it up so that it's kind of like it's a natural motion of like I flipped it to put it back together, but now it's pointing at Greg. And I go, "What did you do?"
And as you say, the engines flare forward and you weren't prepared, and the ship kind of, and you've leaned towards Laurel to look at her, and the ship veers off to the right, just shy of the actual porthole you would use to leave the quad bay, and the ship just smacks into the wall. It doesn't deal any damage, like health point wise. But the bay itself looks pretty banged up. There's a couple of people outside screaming and throwing things at the the fuselage.
So Greg didn't fall out of his seat as it was happening, but as soon as we stop, then he slides out and falls onto the floor.
I
He
get
stands up, brushes himself off, and says,
I got it.
and gets back in the seat. And puts his seatbelt on.
I thought I told you not to run into something again.
Now,
Over-communicator.
really quickly,
Engineering.
Flinch. No, I need you to roll a reflex saving throw. You're not strapped down.
17.
Okay, that's not bad. As the thing flies out suddenly, you kind of get flung towards a wall, but you stop yourself, and your prehensile tail wraps around a bar and prevents you from going anywhere. And as it crashes, you just cross your arms and just stand stoic as your tail keeps you taut against a post, and you feel the ship slant cockeyed to the right.
I have the greatest look of disappointment that nobody can see. Because I'm by myself, man.
Yeah.
Greg comes on over the comm.
Just stop it already.
Just get us moving.
All right, I'm gonna roll another pilot check.
Please.
You got your gravy rag? Get out of
I
here.
rolled a 3 this time, so 13 in total.
That's still good enough. There's a couple of out of the back of the engine as it steers backwards. There's people still throwing metal and wrenches at the ship, and then you fly out and you head into drift so that you can make it to the Habitat system with some semblance of speed.
I think that went pretty well.
As soon as we're moving and steady, I get out of my seat and I grab Greg by the scruff of the neck and I lift him up and shake him. What the heck were you doing? I thought you knew how to fly.
I do, but sometimes the relationship with the ship that you're trying to fly can be really complicated. I should write that down.
Relationship? You almost crashed into this ship we were inside.
Well, it's
You
like
had a very large hole to fly into that you missed.
sometimes the relationship with the ship that you're
I
trying to
just throw him
fly.
down in the chair.
So
And he puts his
Sock
seat-
away.
He puts
I
his
come
seatbelt
over
back
the
on.
open comms where I had the comms all
Yep.
open. Okay. And I'm just like, who taught you to speak like that? Where'd you learn those words? Who have you been hanging out with?
Nobody. Alright, it might have been in Cliptic's room once. She has some books, but don't tell her because she'll probably
You better
try
not
to
learn
make
how
me
to
like
read.
tea.
You better not be so disappointed.
Cliptic is a he.
Oh,
It's hard to tell, I know, right?
yeah.
You gonna fly us out of here without hitting a planet now?
Oh yeah, I should probably be flying right now. Click.
Thank you for listening to this Twisted Gear Studios production. The next episode of Spacers will air Tuesday, April 2nd. Until then, Tuesday, March 26th is the next episode of The Call, our Call of Cthulhu actual playcast GM'd by Derek Snow. And Friday, March 29th, is the next episode of our collaboration podcast with MacGuffin Media, The Legend of Zingdong. The game system used today was the Starfinder game system by Paizo. Music in this episode was licensed by Video Copilot. Sound effects and ambient tracks licensed through Triune Films, Video Copilot, and Sirenscape. You can find all of Twisted Gears' podcasts on YouTube, Google Play, Apple Music, and Spotify. Please like and follow the Twisted Gear Studios Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Twisted Gear. Your players this evening were Janessa Coles, Lindsay Delansky, Elizabeth Wells, Bailey Yarkey, and Derek Snow. Your audio operator was Rob Hickey, and I was your host and GM, Zach Barrett. If you happen to be in the Fort McMurray area, you can find me at Tavern on Main every Monday at 7:30 p.m. for trivia. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.